After Israel's attack on Qatar, the United Nations Security Council has called an emergency briefing. The entire world is closely watching this escalation. But within just 24 hours of the briefing, intense and significant aftershocks are emerging. And these aftershocks are highly important, not just for the world, but especially for the Muslim Ummah. However, there are still some angles here that also need to be explored further. I mentioned in the previous video that a soft response might come from Qatar. But on social media, many of you got fired up, saying that a soft response isn't enough, that Muslims have become numb. But this is not the time for Muslims to fight among themselves. Because in the face of these global Zionist activities, it's essential for the Muslim Ummah to stand united at this moment. And yes, even these soft responses are sometimes necessary diplomatically. Soft responses happen too. They're diplomatically necessary. We will explore all of that. But most importantly, there are 3 key points that must be discussed. Pakistan was told it would be engaged. Pakistan was targeted to be engaged at the UN. Attempts were made to involve Pakistan, and accusations were leveled. But the real question is, what should our response be moving forward, and how is Pakistan being trapped? It says, fighting is the easiest thing in the world. At first, no one believed it. So, they gave a very clear example. There are 2 neighbors. One lives in one house, and the other lives in the next. The first one wants a fight, a scene, and a chaos. We will talk about that. And secondly, today we will also discuss who lies on the UN floor. Yes, there are people who lie on the UN floor. It's documented. We will talk about that too. And the most important thing for you to understand, the thing that social media is not telling you, is what does Israel actually want from all this action? What's the real story? Let's understand it. He stood up and told the other neighbor, "Come on, let's fight." Then the other neighbor said, "Why, brother? Why fight? Your mind is not right." The first replied, "Not right? Your mind will be bad too. Your fathers, your brothers." And then the fight started again. And somebody said, "Look for a problem. We'll find the problem." Right now, this is what I describe, an unequal duel. The accused is the Israelism Accuser Act. United Nations is standing on Danny Dawn floor, trying to become heroes, and those who are present and protesting show a picture inside him. They say that Qatar is defeating Hamas. Terrorist groups are being defeated. First, clear something in your minds. Are Hamas and terrorist organizations the same? Israel has made the decision. The people of Gaza have considered it as a united party. They have voted for it in the elections. But first, clear this thing from your minds. This is not a terrorist organization. And another thing is, if Israel says that this picture shows Danny Damon's picture, and they're saying this picture proves that Hamas members were present in the Qatar site. Leaders, look how they are being defeated. Number 1, this picture is not from Qatar. Do some research. This is a picture from the Hamas negotiations in Turkey. You're standing on the floor of the UN telling lies. And secondly, Qatar has repeatedly told you that the task of hosting Hamas was done by you and America. They were invited at America's request. Israel has made the decision. The people of Gaza have considered it a united party. They have voted for it in the elections. But first, clear this thing from your minds. This is not a terrorist organization. And another thing is, if Israel says the picture shows Danny Damon's picture, and they claim this picture proves that Hamas members were present in Qatar and negotiations were ongoing, so your point is not established. Here people will ask, why is Danny Danon lying at such a time? How come you don't audit the floor of the United Nations, so that the entire international community is ridiculed and the world is shown how much penetration our intelligence has? We can even enter homes. Israel has made the decision. The people of Gaza have considered it a united party. They have voted for it in the elections. But first, Clear this thing from your minds. This is not a terrorist organization. Another thing is, if Israel says the picture shows Danny Damon's picture and claims this picture proves that Hamas members were present in Qatar. Leaders, look how they are being defeated. Number one, this picture is not from Qatar. Research a little. This picture is from the Hamas negotiations in Turkey. You're standing on the floor of the UN telling lies. And secondly, Qatar has repeatedly said that hosting Hamas was done at America's request. They were invited by America. The United States has never sanctioned Pakistan so far in the Osama bin Laden case. Pakistan was never told it lost in this matter. Instead, Pakistan has always been appreciated since 2011 when this statement was made. However, there are some things you need to understand about the Osama bin Laden issue that are not clear yet. Write this same like this again. It is said that Erdogan wants the Muslim world to now jump into a final war with Israel. If that happens, how would that even be possible, and how big a force do we have? And can this force stand up against Israel? What's the real story? Let's understand. First, India and Israel's trade. Before this, you might have tried to do this too, a surgical strike. And whether India, Israel, or the United States does it, challenging the sovereignty of any country is a crime. And this is us against the rest. You can't just have different dates, different standards with your energy partners. You had already tried to do this surgical strike before, and whether India, Israel, or the United States does it, it is a challenge to any country's sovereignty. And this is us against the rest. You can't have different standards with your energy partners. This exposes your hypocrisy. And today, when the world and media discuss this, they talk about 5 Indian naval officers caught in Qatar in 2023. These naval officers were working for a double global agenda. Their job was to surveil Qatar, investigate sovereign deals, and report about it.